Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, we are all searching for ways to better evaluate players in order to give meaningful feedback. Over 15 years ago, I put together a test called the JAMODI Skill Rating. The JSR takes players through a series of tests involving basketball skill or athleticism, giving them one rating at the end. Their JSR rating will give you clarity on what needs to be discussed with players and parents on areas they need to focus on improving. I test our players at least 4 times each year. They're able to compete against each other, past players' scores, and most importantly, their past performances. If you'd like to start testing your athletes, email me at jamodipodcast@gmail.com for more information.
Coach, I'd love to ask with how many years of coaching? 32
I was
years of
32
coaching?
in Boerne and
Yeah.
2 in Yorktown as the head coach. I was a head basketball coach for 34 years.
34 years, and then as a athletic director since, you said 99?
99. So I'm going into my 27th year as the district athletic director.
Yeah, you have sat in front of and been around so many coaches, and you've been able to see those that are transformational and those guys. And even I also want to say congratulations, 2021, one of the top 20 coaches, greatest coaches in UIL. That's incredible. So I wanted to tell you congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Not that you needed me to, but
no, thank you.
And then the Texas Hall of Fame this summer, this
Yeah,
spring.
that's pretty cool. We really embraced that and had a good time, Matt. Thank you.
Yeah. What characteristics have you seen that are maybe common or show up again and again and again in these great coaches that you've been around?
First of all, it's got to be a ministry. You have to feel that you've got a purpose, and your purpose is to make others feel better and so that they can do the best they can. You know, one of your goals must always be that when you leave a room, that you really tried to make the people that you leaving in the room feel good about yourself, about themselves. And those are things that, you know, you always work on things that we can do. And of course, being in Boerne, starting our 40th year, we decided, you know, of course, when I went in 86, it was going to be there for a cup of coffee and to, you know, greater and bigger things. But what happened was we started winning, and then eventually there wasn't a better place. We were Region 4, 4A. We had people that loved basketball, had great leadership, and a lot of things. There's just places that have good people. I mean, we were fortunate with school boards that didn't have agenda. I mean, can you imagine 40 years? Well, the reason was I worked for good people. And back when I got the job, obviously you can do math, Matt. So I'm turning 65 on June 18th. So they hired me at 25. Now, if you don't think they haven't given me a lot of grace through the years, man, I can tell you countless times where I had blockers that took care of me. And just by my favorite quote of all time, all but by the grace of God goes John Bradford. I mean, all but by the grace of God go I. And a lot of times that's the first thing, and you know, and it's written by, you know, die to self. And that works because sometimes basketball coaches come in and they'll have people that AEDs that, you know, go, okay, we're going to do universal off season. Well, I can't win with that. Well, why can't you? Because the guys that always land on their feet are the guy, okay, I can't control that. That's my boss today. He came in, and I'm going to value that. I'd rather, my family needs me to stay here. It's better for my family. It's better for my kids to go, you know what? Why can't I win with universal off season? Or why don't I? Okay, we're going to do it, and you go in and coach, but then too many times go, well, I can't do it, and they just leave. And then you see these people that have been in 10 different places, and because that personality, let me tell you, there's always going to be a universal off season somewhere. And that's just a figure of speech, is there's always going to be something. And the ones with the healthy mindset, and so of course, being in Boerne 40 years, there were some things that new leadership came in, and I go, you know what? Shoot, might be a good idea. And most of the time, even the criticism that my big opponents through the years, what's bad is half of what they were saying most of the time was true. It was something I needed to work on. Now, they had an agenda why they wanted me to do it. However, through the 40 years, each time I was getting criticism, I went, it's kind of like the movie All Presidents that old Douglas was in, and they got mad at him because he wouldn't defend himself, and then he's talking to the opponent, his wife in that movie. I'm blank right now. And he said, tell me, what one of the things is he saying that's not true? And so I
Yeah.
love that. And I've used it for my old life. I go, so first of all, I'm getting criticism. Okay. So which one of those things is not true? And most of the time, I'll give it at least half. Most of the time it's like, you know what? Right. I can work on that. But the guys that have a shelf life, and all of us have shelf lives at different places. In some places, the shelf life's shorter and longer. But a lot of the ones that have short shelf lives everywhere, they're about a 2-3 year guy. And the reason is because it's all about them. And the reason is they don't go, you know what? That's probably good for me. Through the years in Boerne, we've had people come from the outside to try to get us up to modern day standards. And I have gone, you know what? Thank you. Yeah, we probably should have done that about 5 years ago, but I'm glad you showed up, because now I got to do it. And I was really truthful. Yeah, we do need to have better handbooks. We need to have better standards. And so those are the guys that live a long time in this profession.
Mentioned right off the bat about ministry, and I was fortunate enough to move down from Pennsylvania to Texas and play for Tommy Thomas at the Colony,
Yeah,
which you remind
yeah.
me of him a lot. I hope you take that as a compliment. I hope
Oh,
he
are
takes
you
that as a
kidding?
compliment.
No,
And
no, of course. Thank you. Yeah.
the way you guys communicate, and you can feel just your passion and care. But you mentioned a calling and how you wanted guys to feel good about themselves. Coach T, I feel like, did that better than anybody I've almost ever been around, where he had this thing he would do, and I can't do it, coach. It just doesn't, it's not authentic for me. It doesn't
Yeah.
sound right. I've tried it. I think it comes off just weird, but he would go, "Matt, how are you today?" I'm like, "Coach, I'm doing okay." "Why aren't?" "Of course you are. Like, look at you. You're a great player. You got friends. You're smart. You're good looking. You work, yeah." He would just rattle off all these things. And by the end of it, I think, yeah, like I am though. He just made me feel, better, bigger. I think some guys have that, not that he didn't work at it, but some guys have that natural ability to do that. How do you cultivate that? How do you create that feeling with your players that they feel better when they're around you every day?
First of all, I'm going to go back on his comment to you. He made it personal. So you knew that he meant, instead of just having some little line. And then I laugh, or you baby think of this new one that comes out when people go, how you done? Better than I deserve. I say, oh, hush. Golly. Oh, man, can you not
You're
come up
blessed
with
to be
something better
stressed.
than
Yeah.
better than I deserve? I go, well, you deserve a lot. What are you talking about? I go, get away from me. You talk about one. I think that's culture's number one. And number two is this self-deprecating. Better than I deserve. I don't deserve much. I said, well, then guess what? I'm playing. I'm going with somebody else on this committee than better than I deserve. But anyway, so when you said that, I went, I need to introduce them to Tommy's deal is, no, you deserve a lot. You got this, you got that, you got that.
Of course you
Hey,
do. Yeah.
get your head up, boy. Anyway, back to the question, Matt, is how you can imagine 40 years there'd be several players that didn't feel that way. And I think we also got to give ourselves grace sometimes, as long as we're always marching the same direction, because we're not going to touch everybody. And we can't think we are. And then when you get comments from people, they really truly go, well, you can imagine being in the same town I've been in for 40 years. I'm walk into a restaurant and go, oh, those aren't my people. Those are my people. And I'm going to go say hi to the ones that aren't, just to make their lives miserable for today that I went and said hi to them. But the deal is we attempt to connect to everybody, but we don't beat ourselves up because they're just, we just don't, not everybody's thing. And it's amazing. I'll write an article or do a talk and I'll think, man, I knocked it out of the park. And then not receive much, going, well, you know what? I don't think I did. And then it's amazing. Somebody months later, it will connect. Something I would have said or written would connect to them. And I went, hey, there's a win. I do like the new saying that people use a lot, and I like it. Take the win. And I really like that. It's a new thing that people say that I like, and it's saying, hey, you're too busy worrying about what you don't have, and this happened. Well, take the win. And now let's continue on, but let's take the win today. And I know back in the day, people would say there's no such thing as moral victories. And so we need to recant it, but because with some teams there are. I like the word moral, so we're going, there are things that we should say as coaches. We did this, we were up, we lost in the last minute because we couldn't foul and we don't have a shot clock and all that stuff. Yeah, but take the win, because in a pyramid, you got to get close before you get there. And I was in Boerne our first year. We're 11-19, just moved up to 4A when there was only 5A. So that was like a 5A school now. And we were 11-20. And then the next year we're 19-12, but we lost our last 5 games because we weren't ready for end of game stuff. Next year we're 25-8, and next year we played for a state championship, lost to Dallas Lincoln state championship. I tell you that 4 years is there was things that occurred in year 1, 2, and 3 that didn't happen in year 4 because we touched the stove and got burnt and had to learn stuff. Because everything in coaching is touching the stove. I mean, eventually you touch the hot stove and you go, whoa, better not do that again. And some of us have higher tolerance for touching the stove than others.
You touched on something that I saw. Caitlin Clark did a video. She was talking with some type of mental performance coach, but he asked her a question. He said, how do you handle praise? He said, how do you like handling praise? And she said, oh, I like it. Like how do you like praise? And she said, I like it. I enjoy when I hear that. And he said, how do you handle blame? She said, well, I don't like that as much. I don't like hearing that, feeling that. He said, how you handle praise will create how you handle blame. And I thought, whoa, like if I'm out there looking for craving praise, it's going to hurt that much more when the blame comes because I want that, but I don't get it. And this feels so much worse. So what's the answer is handle both the same. Handle both. Praise, I'm gracious, I'm humble, I stay right here. Perspective, right? And then blame, I also stay right here. I'm not as bad as I think I am right now. I keep that perspective as well. When you were talking about that, that immediately brought that to my mind. And then the savior complex that I think we can have sometimes as coaches. Without realizing it, we think we can change everyone. And my beautiful bride, Miss Jana, had great advice to me years ago when I came home, and there's just a player at Faith that we're just butting heads. I don't know what to do, and I've even tried to appeal to the faith aspect for him and everything, and she said, "Matt, it's not your job to save them." Okay,
Try.
then I got to let that go, and so thankful for her and those
Well,
reminders.
I love what she said, and I think, of course, it's biblical, the perfect number 7. You may be touch number 1.
Yes.
It takes everybody 7 touches, and whether that's literal or figurative, it's a great mindset as a believer that we may not, we're going to plant trees we don't get shade, and we're going to dig wells we don't get to drink water from. And it's not our job to worry about it. We just to really check ourselves at the gate to make sure that we're trying our best. And sometimes we make mistakes. Oh, my 40 years. Oh, man, like I said, they gave me lots of grace. And there was a lot of close calls that I'm thankful that I had people that took care of me during those times.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.